What's going on, guys? My name's Yellow SKV Tech, and this is my first episode of my Porsche Showcase series where I showcase every different car in the Porsche expansion pack for Forza 4, and I combined it. I drive it on a track that I feel suits the car really well. There might be some parts that the car doesn't mesh quite as well, which you'll see in this video here, but as you can see, the car that I'm going to be driving is the Porsche 914-6, and this car is pretty sweet. I grew up, my dad, this was back when I was real young, so I don't really remember it very well, but my dad had a 914. It was not the 6, it was the one with the 4-cylinder, the Volkswagen 4-cylinder engine, and it was like the puke green color. You can't get that green in this game for some reason. I'm not quite sure, but it was just this awful puke green. But the 914 is a special car, and the 6 is even better. And the reason the 6 came along is because they wanted an actual Porsche engine in it. You know, it was the Volkswagen 4-cylinder before, and they decided to switch it to or make a model with the 6-cylinder in it from Porsche that was in the 911T. As you can see, this is the track that we're going to be driving. We're going to be driving the Fuji on Stage A. And I feel like this track really kind of showcases the qualities of this car. And you kind of have to drive it in a very specific way to get the most out of this car. You know, it doesn't have a whole lot of horsepower, not a whole lot of torque. So what you have to do is you have to use up a lot of the road. You have to keep your momentum, and that's the #1 thing that you have to do with this car. And I think you'll see that throughout this little run here on Stage A. A few times I go maybe a little too wide, use up too much of the track when I could have kept a little bit farther inside, but hey, it can't be perfect. But all about keeping momentum. As you can see, using the whole track there, almost coming out and rubbing the barrier there. But that's what it's all about, and this car is really fun to drive. The second gear is very useful. Third gear is where you go into most corners, and you can carry a lot of speed into corners that you wouldn't think you'd be able to carry that much speed into, as you can see. And then you can just drop down into second, and if you have the power on, the traction goes to the front wheels, and it tends to carry you through the corner pretty well, actually. And that's the cool thing about this car, is you can really just drive it flat out, and that's just a blast. I love cars like that. That's half the fun. As you can see, it's all about taking the right line to keep your momentum and not scrub too much speed by going sideways or dabbing the brakes or anything like that. And honestly, this car is just a blast to drive. It might not be the car that you're like, oh yeah, I want to click on this video and watch it, the 914, you know what I mean? But damn, it honestly is just a good time to drive it. And I think this video shows it. I mean, it's just such a blast, and it's all about hitting your lines right there. I scrub a little too much speed, but it wasn't too bad, so I kept on going. A lot of these corners, right here, this goes into a section, actually it's further down the road, where it gets into more uphill sections, and that's where this car kind of struggles. This car, you know, I mean, it just doesn't have much power, so when you get to these uphill hairpins, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. As you can see here, it's just, come on, get going. I'm just trying to keep up as much momentum as I can. The engine is pretty low on the revs, but it's not worth dropping down to first gear for those. I think second is the best bet. But it's pretty hard because you don't want to get on the brakes too much. You can see I kind of tapped them going into this corner and everything. You need to get, you can't just go into them. You don't want to let off because then you're just going to drift wide. But that's the hardest section of this track for this car. But as you can see, throughout the course, this car fares really well. And I think there's some other ones. Maybe the whole circuit of this would do better. But that's about it, guys. That's what I'm going to be doing in this series. And that's a 914-6. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.